welcome you in the last round of panel discussion. I'm Elena Prasapati, Glocal General Manager at Glocal Pvt, and would like to welcome you in the final panel discussion of CEO Unplugged. This time we have the very important and most difficult ones, work-life health balance. And for this, I would like to call our panelist and our moderator to the dais. I would like to call Ms. Ambika Shrestha, President at Dwarika's Hotel and Resort, to the dais. I would like to call our next panelist, Ms. Dr. Deena Shrestha, endocrinologist. I would like to call Mr. Ravi Chaudhary, Executive Director at Loyalta Hospital Private Limited. I would like to call Mr. Tristan Perry, Public Affairs Officer at Office of U.S. Ambassador to Nepal. Mr. Shekhar Chhetri, Director at V-chitra. Thank you all the panelists. Now I would like to call our moderator, Ms. Amuda Mishra, Executive Director at the Ujjwala Foundation, to come to the dais and take charge of the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think we all are ready for the most awaited panel discussion of this event, CEO Unplugged, Work, Life, and Health Balance. And I'm as new as you guys. I think I lack in all of these three sectors. I don't know why I'm moderating this session here. So, but it is going to be a good session to, I think, enlighten ourselves and learn about how we can keep that balance. And we have a great panelist here, very inspirational and people who've made it through. So we'll hear it from them. How do they do all these things that they do, and what are the tricks and trade of how can we have this perfect balance? So I think we're going to get started. Just some rules. You know, moderating is a very tough job. I haven't been sleeping quite well since last night. I don't know. I was like, I don't know when to stop and all that stuff. So we'll give you 3 minutes each. We'll just, the more you are on the knack of time, I think we'll get to answer more questions. So just be respectful of that. Everybody will go around and we'll give 3 minutes for each panelist to answer whatever the questions I have. And then we will take the questions from the audience for the last 10 minutes. And feel free to explore and ask and find the right balance. So I think we'll start with a question with you guys. Since you guys are in all these demanding jobs, wearing different hats in your life, how do you actually maintain that work, life, and health balance? Maybe we'll start with Shekharji and just 3 minutes, and then we'll just go around.
Hi, thank you. I'm kind of industry I represent is where I need to be on a tour 24 hours and all days a week, because we work with different clients for communication. V-chitra is an advertising agency. So we need to think whether we are in office or we are not in office or we are partying somewhere. So we really don't have a time limit as like, you know, as 9 to 5, like, you know, you come and you do some kind of job. So that's how, I think it's one way, it's pretty easy for us as like, you know, we come with a thing, we work on a deadline and we say, okay, by tomorrow morning, everybody go home, think, come back. So that way everybody has a family life. And another thing is, what we personally practice in office is like, you know, we got a family which is extended from home. It's like most of the time we spend time with our employee, which also has become a part of our family. So that's also, you know, it's balances. When your work knows what your home is and your home knows what your work is, So I think it's balances pretty well. So that's what our take is in our office. We practice. Thanks.
So maybe having, can you hear me? So maybe having a more like home-like environment at work, having colleagues who support you, makes that balance much more better?
It does.
It does.
It does. What happens is everybody has SOS situation in life. If you can share your SOS situation with the employee and you and get employees SOS situation and help them out, I think it becomes it's out. Like current situation when we are, everybody is facing with the fuel crisis. Okay, now we kind of in office we kind of make sure okay, find people who is close by, come and cooperate more, and probably when we can somebody can scout for a petrol, somebody goes there, so gets fuel for every one of us. So I think that's how you kind of balance everything.
Hello, my name is Tristram. I came home from work last night about 9:30, having showed up around 8 o'clock in the morning. I regularly miss birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases, holidays for work-related reasons or not being around for my family and friends. My mother wrote me a very unpleasant email this morning saying, "You haven't called me in over a month." Sometimes I get up in the morning while my wife is still asleep and come home after she's gone to bed, and I don't see her. My name is Tristram, and I am a workaholic. I'm sad to say I don't have a work-life health balance, but I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about how to work in a different culture, and we can maybe come back to that, and that's something I know how to do. I'm a career foreign service officer who served overseas in 6 different countries with the rank of colonel in my service, and one thing I have been successful in is trying to adapt to a new culture, a new work environment. In Nepal, 500,000 young people leave Nepal every year to go work overseas. Chances are you're going to work in a multicultural environment. There are many multinationals, NGOs, and embassies here, so I'd like at some point to talk to you a little bit about how that works, but I will be respectful of time and pass it on to the next person.
I think I still have a question for you. So clearly, we see a lot of balance, I think, maybe. You're still juggling a lot of roles and wearing a lot of different hats. Do you think that we're overly involved? Because I think I'll open it to the audience and ask you guys, how many of you own your own businesses or are planning to start one? How many of you have multiple careers right now? Many of us, right? So is that why we don't have that balance? Do you feel, is it just one particular job, or it's because you're working in a place that is so different from your grassroots, that's why you do not have that balance? Or is it we're trying to engage ourselves or involve ourselves in too many things at once?
Those are 2 good questions. For the first one, I'll say I worked in public relations and marketing in Boston for 7 years before joining the Foreign Service. The industry does not allow very well for work-life balance. I think being in communications, you are, whether it's a client or your ambassador or someone in Washington, you are on call 24/7. And when that phone rings, you need to answer it, because if you don't, someone else will. I don't know, I think in private industry that's very true. I think in certain professions it's very true. I think other professions not as true. I think academia or other types of jobs, not so much. But in answer to your question, I think people kind of select a career not necessarily knowing that that's how it's going to be, but I think that's why we're having this panel, so you can figure out what you want. But I honestly think if you want to get ahead, if you want to be a CAO, you're going to have to work hard, and sometimes that's going to fall outside of 9 to 5. And that's the competitive world that we live in today.
I agree. So maybe, Ravi, you can answer.
Hi, I'm Ravi Chaudhary, running a hospital. I'm someone who started my business at the age of 14, and it is about 16 years that I'm in hospital industry, currently at Vayoda. Now, we talk about work, life, work, whatever it is. The most important is whatever we do, we must enjoy to just get out of the stress. If you don't enjoy what we are doing at home or at office, will put us in negative energy. And all the disease, depression, or whatever negativity we have, it is all the energy that we have, our attitude. Balancing is a difficult thing. I mean, there has not been a clear-cut definition of balancing health and life or homely environment. It differs from situation to situation. If somebody is sick at home, the home come number one priority. If you are closing, the year end or the financial thing, the closing comes first. So at different situation, the priorities changes, but how we take is most important. If you work out for an hour and you continuously think of, oh, I work out today for an hour and so, your body will take it in a different way. You will feel lazy, tired. If you take other way, oh, I work out for an hour, I feel more fresh. So it is all our thought process that give us a negative or a positive energy and help us to, deal at home or office accordingly. So this is it from my side.
Well, that's a great perspective, right? I think all of the panelists who are here are workaholics, and they do not have that 9 to 5 kind of set work decorum. But I think they also know how to balance it. I think what we carry into our work, the attitude that we have, and if we love what we do, I don't think so it makes us feel like we don't have a balance or we're working too much. And that itself becomes a balance at some point. So let's hear it from the ladies. But I think I also would like to add one more question to your plate, which would be, I think for women, especially in Nepal, leading mega companies or big hotel and hospitality industry like Dwarika's must have been really tough, especially back in the day when we were so male-driven by so many aspects and norms and values. So I think also looking at that, and also I think, how can we be supportive? How can our male counterparts and society be supportive of the work that we do? And is it tough for us to have that work-life health balance compared to our male counterparts?
Hello. So I'm Dr. Dina. Apparently we are all workaholics, so we are here. And when I was invited here, I kind of didn't understand why I was invited, but now that I'm here, it all makes sense. So if I have to answer what we were asked is that, yes, we do have to work and we do end up working a lot. But I agree with Ravi, and I think that if anything I have to tell you guys is that, first of all, you have to choose a job that you're passionate about, because only then you can do what Perry said or what Ravi said. You can work your hours and you cannot feel the burn. Because in a job that I hate, if you keep me for 2 hours, I will burn out. I will go home and I say I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm going to be angry at my family, I'm not going to be good with my friends, and that's life. So choose the path carefully on which you want to tread. And it can be different what you expected, but at least you should know that this is what you tried. And as for our male counterparts helping us, I think that's why I am here today. With the support of my dad, that I'm here. I work also many gazillion hours a day, which is 13 hours, and I don't get Saturday off, so I work 7 days a week. And but what I do in life is also, I think it makes sense here to tell you that I always tell people that there is no excuses for anything, right? If you don't go for a walk, if you don't listen to your friends, if you don't take time to listen to what your body and your physical and emotional need is, over a period of time, you cannot stretch that for a very long time. 5 years, 10 years, you will burn out, and then when it'll hit you, it's not going to be very pleasant. So I think you have to you don't need to stop, but you need to pause, and you need to re-strategize and see. Like I was saying that there were things about communication that came before, where they told you that the company was going to grow. But when the company is growing, you don't burn your midnight candle. You actually wait, stop, strategize, employ more people, do how you want to do, and go ahead. I think my 3 minutes is up, so I'm going to pass on the mic.
As all of them are saying, I don't know why I'm here, I'm the oldest. I just thought my work life and balance as balance. But I don't know how I balance it because I've been working all the time. And as you said, I had a very difficult time starting. But then again, you said about the male health. Well, my husband was very supportive. I worked, but he supported me. He didn't, though I worked at the house too, he didn't help me in the house, but he was helpful to me that I could work. When the situation was that there was nobody, no woman could work, especially in the society I was married to. It was a very difficult situation. But then working and doing it well, as you said, I got into a business. This is 24 hours, as you said, there's 24 hours, and 7 days of the week, there's no holiday. In the tourism business, you don't get any holidays. You're at the beck and call of somebody you are handling. Especially, well, when it's a travel agency, you're at the beck and call for your tickets, or somebody is handling something. Somebody is sick in the hospital, somewhere, the car is broken down, you have to work at night or whatever. And for a hotel, that's another 24 hours. You're giving services, you're handling clients, and there you have to be ready to do things. And in our business, the client is always true. He's always right. Whatever he does, he may shout, he may yell, but he is the right. So we have to handle it in that way. So that's the business that I am in. And balance, I don't know, but as you said, it is that you have to love your work. You have to find it very good. I love meeting people, I like handling people, so I think I was very happy with that. So it didn't bother me. Then I have to tell you something else. Of course, I had everything under the sun in medical things, okay? But I could say that I've just gone through cancer, and I'm here, all right, pasted, and I'm okay. But I went through it, and but then again, somebody just now said attitude. It's you who has to face it. Nobody faces it. The doctor will prescribe, the doctor will tell you something, but it's you who has to do it. It has to be your willpower and your urge to go ahead and survive. That is the way you have to do it. I think that's it. So that's how it's there. And there's another thing I have to tell you. I cannot stay in bed. If I stay in bed, I'm more ill. I feel sick further. But if I get up, but I have to get up. I have to see other people. I meet other people and I change. So that's another way that you have to be open and be friendly with people. Help people. Of course, I work, you said, Rosa. I'm King's College, I'm very close by. We have an office right across. I don't know if you know, Business and Professional Women is just around the corner. When that started, there was nothing around here. We were in the corner, and everybody used to be afraid because this was the area where you could be afraid of coming.
Wow, so do all these things all at once, multitask, and still be there in your 100%. So what are the key things that you guys have been practicing in private so that we, when we are your age, don't drain ourselves? So we'll start with you, Secretary.
I just want to share one thing. We had a morning office meeting.
We had a morning office meeting, and I just told my colleague, like, I've got this workshop today, work, health, and balance. They told me, you're very good. You say, like, you just go and tell them you know how to juggle, but you don't know how to balance. Regarding, I think, what I kind of, as I said, I kind of share everything with my colleague, and I also make them part of my family. And my wife, she works for an embassy. She leaves office at 7 in the morning and comes at 6:30 in the evening. And we have got a daughter who is ASD, and she needs a lot of attention. And I kind of deal with her in the morning, feeding her breakfast and making her ready, dropping her to the school. Then I come back to the work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of make all the agenda for a day. And then I again go back to her school, be with her for some time, and by 10 o'clock again I'm in the office. 2 o'clock I get her back, I take her to music therapy. then so I kind of juggle between work and thing, and I kind of really appreciate my colleague and my family supporting it, and I kind of share what to do, and they also kind of tell give share resources like these are things here, this is what you can try. I believe that's how I've been able to successfully manage my workaholic days. I mean that's being open to everything what I have and sharing.
So yeah, the key here is open communication. So that is what he practices, and that has helped you, right? Have this balance. So what do we practice in private, Kerry?
You can call me Tristram. So, we were joking earlier with Dina that it's like two Nepali names, Tree and Ram. It's Tristram. It's like very easy to call it. So, I mean, much like you guys, when I told my family and friends that I was doing this, they laughed, and then they became very concerned that this was maybe an intervention that they were not invited to. So, but in all seriousness, I do believe people should have a separation between their work and their life, and I think it's important to draw that line. I'm not so good at it myself, but I try to do it for my staff. I have a staff of about 25 people, and what I try to do is take things off their plate so that they can have a life, they can spend time with their family, because especially for my local staff, I mean, they're not in the same service that I am. They did not make the same pledge that I did. And I have to respect that, and I try to make it so that they can have a life on their own, both in work and in life. What I use is something called the Eisenhower quadrant. I don't know if you guys know about this. Former President Eisenhower was famous for being highly efficient and very hardworking. He had been the general who was overseeing the command of the Allied invasion in Europe. And basically what it's saying is you divide your work into 4 quadrants. The upper left hand is important and urgent. The upper right hand is important but not urgent. The lower left hand is urgent but not important. And then the bottom obviously is unimportant and not urgent. You try to stay in the top left hand corner. You try to prioritize both with your family, friends, and with your work. What must I do that is really important? And if you have time, go over to the right and stick to the important stuff is basically the message there. Lots of things come up, but you need to use your judgment. And you need to prioritize both in your personal and your professional life.
Thank you, Perry. See, I'm not from some MBA qualified place where they ask you to, how you manage your stress or something. What I have learned is, basically you must understand the values of 3 magical words: no, thank you, and sorry. If you have one who says yes to everything, like one of my employees come to me, I need 2 lakh rupees advance for some purpose, and I say, okay, we will see, and you just prolong it, you're breaking trust of somebody, you're misguiding. On the other hand, you're taking unnecessary stress of running from him. If you can do, it is yes. If you cannot, no. So be very honest of what you can perform or you cannot. Now, if we make mistake, obviously we make a different part of our life and on regular basis also. We must be able to apologize and say, yes, we did this wrong and we are sorry for it. Next time we must improve. It can be at home, office, on the street, anywhere. And people whom you are thankful to, they must know you are thankful to them. You must say thanks to give that attachment, to bring that closeness. Because now employees are not, it used to be earlier like boss salute and all those. These are now extended family members. More you understand them, more you take them with you, more helpful they are. Efficiency is better. So using this 3 word at right time helps you a lot. The rest is, never lie at your home. Like I'll tell you an instance of a week ago. My daughter sleeps with me. It was 9:45, and I got a call from the hospital. It is emergency. You need to come. And my daughter, why you need to go? This is so late. I just asked her, if I go, a person might be saved. You want me to stay here or go? And she was ready. No, you go and try to come as soon as possible. And I was back after half an hour. She was awake, and there was no problem. So, telling at our home or the family, like what type of job we are involved at, and how we give an example to our employees. If I always ask my subordinate or my people to run every time in the night, and I am always busy at my home or partying around or anything else, the job is not going to be in a smooth manner, or it will have hassle. Later on, they will try to run away from that call, will not answer my phone or something. So, right answer, right place, important and urgent, important or urgent. Knowing what is more important for us, what is urgent at what time. So if you are able to do that and use words at right time, I mean, I don't see a stress type of thing at job or at home. It is only when we lie, we try to escape, we try to run from something, that is the situation which lands up ourselves and others in the problem. So which is fair communication everywhere is going to help, which is helping me as on date.
Right, I think, I think this is such a good example of that. We all could have come here and be like, you know what, we have a great balance. We do all these XYZ things, and we're just there at our office until 11 o'clock, and you see us the next morning, and we're like absolute zombies. But I think this is where we're endorsing it to, being sincere and having open communication. And I think it's so nice to say that, you know what, we really don't have a balance. We're just going to teach you something that we practice in private that has helped us keep our sanity in public, right? So maybe from the doctor's perspective.
I'm confused now. So maybe I live in the world where I feel I have a balance, and then the outside world looks at me and says she doesn't have a balance. But today, unlike you guys, I'm quite lucky. When I said I was going to give a talk, everybody's like, you are the right person. Go do what you do every day. Tell them what you're all about. So I'm like, so for me, I'm super organized. That's one thing that's helped me balance. If you have a birthday, if you want to come for dinner, if you want to have a chat, please send me a message. Let's talk. And only then, if I agree, I will actually say. So if you see my calendar, I think up to September I'm full. So that's how I do it. I always make appointments. And then over a period of time, that kind of helps me and that kind of doesn't help me. So I'm punctual. I expect everybody else to be punctual. If you want to meet me, if it's not an emergency, because for me, at least being a doctor, I think that's been unfair to my social part. That if they say they have to meet me now, it doesn't mean now. For me, only if I'm called to the ER, that means now, then I leave everything and go. But otherwise, I think everything can wait. If they are your true friends and if they are really your family who care for you, they'll understand. And they'll wait for another night and they'll call you the next Friday. So I think that for me, if I'm balanced in whatever kind of balance I am, it's because I super organize everything, like my day and my week and then my month, and also my goals as to where I want to go or be in like 5 years, 2 years. When I started work, which a lot of you might be surprised, is almost a decade ago. So this year I'm going to be 10 years working as a MD doctor in Norway. So when I came here, they told me it's a rat race. And I said, I'm here for a walk. And I walked my walk and I reached here today because I did not follow anybody's path, or I did not feel the pressure of having to do what others expected me to do. And whenever somebody says something, I always say, I'm the star and it's a round box. I'll never fit, So I think believing in yourself and not getting pressurized from the society and organizing yourself, being on time, and exercising and eating a balanced diet, please. Always works marvelously.
Doctors are doctors.
Yes.
I had to say that.
She had to say that.
Yes, I had to say about very balanced diet and exercise, right? Yes, that is something that I think everybody should do because that pulls you on. The morning when you get up, you want to do some things that you really think. Meditation helps a lot. When you are really stressed out, meditation helps, and that kind of makes you move ahead. There are certain things the doctor has already told you, and I think it's also practical that we practice these days. So I don't know what I should say because I've been working, and now I don't have to work. As a matter of fact, the business is being run by my I have 3 generations, my daughter and my grandson. I don't have to look at the business. But I work with women and children, and girls, really. That's my life right now. And that's why I said I'm very close to you. Because most of the time I'm running here and sitting there.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
I just heard something wonderful. They said, if you're a manager and you're working, then that means you're not doing a good job.
Right. But yeah, you have to manage, right? That's right. I don't know. But yes, working with people. That's, as I said, I like to do something, and I have a passion for that, and that's why I work with, spending my time with the children and working to help the girls. I've been talking with Tristan right now, and Tristan knows, and I've been working, so that's how I balance. I don't know. I work. And as I said, I like to work, and if I sit quietly,
No, but I think maybe it would be really interesting to hear that for all these years, what have you been practicing that at this age you're still like, you know what, I'm so passionate about my work. I keep on finding new things and I love doing it.
Yes.
So what do you do?
What have I done? Well, the business part, of course, that is there, and we developed it, want perfection, worked at it, and the staff are family, as somebody else said. I think I heard it during the information thing then. It's the family, so they are all family. So we work together, that's one thing. But now I don't work with them, but I'm with them. And I don't know really how things move, but we have to keep on moving and doing things. And what the doctor said just now, that's right. You organize your thing before. I have a diary which I keep my appointments, and as she said, my appointments are away. And there's another thing which sometimes it's very bad. I'm always on time. And different. If somebody invites me at this time, I'm there a few minutes before. And as you know, in Nepal, nobody's on time. And if you have to go somewhere and you're on time, you're waiting and waiting and waiting for the session to start, or any function to start. So that is something bad. But I think to the young people, my request is, please keep time. Let it not be said Nepali time. What do you mean by Nepali time? Nepali time, oh, that's not right. Time is time. You have to have that thing for others, the consideration for others. Somebody has so many things to do. He or she gives that up and comes to this function for you. And then you don't take care of that time she's giving all these things. I know the moderator has to go. That's why she was saying,
We will finish this on time. Don't you worry about that.
No, I'm just saying, to the young people here, they're all young here.
Let's just go.
No, but you know, to the young people, you all have to set the time. The older people, okay, we're old, we've got into old habits, okay. But you're the ones who are going to lead, who are going to come ahead. I'm sorry I'm going to go out of the thing, but I like to say it's so good to see these young people, to hear that somebody is employing. I have 25, 30, 50 people that I'm employing, and I have workers. It's great to hear young people. And this is the other thing that it was very good to know that all the panel that you had before, they've been abroad and they've come back to work in Nepal. Young people don't think that abroad is everything. There also you have to work. If you work that same amount in this country would have been beautiful. I'm sorry I'm going away, but I'm taking a chance because I see all these very young people here. For me, I'm very, very old, so I'm lucky to have it all here and listening to see all of you are so enthused and to learn things. Take things and take the good things. Don't take the things that you don't think is right from us. Go ahead.
Right. It's a great discussion, right? Thank you, Ambikaji. What a nice tie-up for the question. So some key things, I think prioritizing becomes very important. Meticulousness, that's very important. I think I am OCD when it comes to those kind of things. But it helps me keep my sanity. You know, I exactly know when to be, where to be. And one thing that I have learned meeting people in Nepal is always carry a book. I have finished books waiting for people at meetings, and you know, you never waste your time. So just a tip, just do that. and that always works in your favor. So I think we're going to wrap it up with one more question and open it to the audience. Just one last thing that you would like to recommend to all these aspiring entrepreneurs and future of our nation. How can they have this balance? What should they do? What should they start practicing right now so that they're still passionate when they are in their field doing what they are doing? So just in one sentence, one quick recommendation.
No, that's pretty tough. I would say, one was in my career, I kind of experimented as in today what I am. From after my management education was, I really wanted to know where I would fit. So I kept on trying. I kind of worked in an Outlook magazine. Then from there I went to geologistics, handling logistics. Then from there again I kind of worked. Then I came to Himalaya, South Asia, thinking I can contribute something here. And then I went back to Bombay again to see, because I wanted to do something in advertising. And then, after, when I was in advertising, then I realized, okay, this is good for me, and I could, take it further. So again, I came back, and then I started investing myself in advertising. And luckily, I've been able to do...
There's only one sentence.
Yeah, sorry.
That's already over 10. Just one.
So I think it's a passion. It's a passion that would take you, make the balance. I think it'll take care of everything.
So be passionate, number one. So Tristan, you have one sentence.
Travel and education.
I love that. 2 words or 3 words.
Preferably together, and I'm going to steal some time. And for those of you interested, tomorrow at the Radisson, there's a U.S. education fair for any of you interested in traveling and educating at the same time.
And also, whenever you get a chance, just advertise about yourself, your work. So that's also a good balance. And you don't have to take some time out to do that. That becomes very important.
Stop blaming others and be independent. That is most important. If you do that, we save a lot of time, energy, and our task will be quick.
I have to say it. Eat healthy.
You're absolutely right. And what I would say is manage your time. Each one. Plan your day or plan your week. Manage your time. And I think that, I think for an example, Kristen put in a plug of advertising.
So great, right? I think this last question, we all had a balance. We all were really good with it. So I think we are also learning here in this panel how to have that time balance at least. But I think the key things to take away from today's panel discussion is learn to prioritize. I love what Tristan talked about, the quadrants. What is it called? The Eisenhower quadrants. I think you can Google it. It's also called something like the priority quadrant, I think. And you can see it there. Start planning, carry a planner, be meticulous, have exercise, be healthy, and I think it's all going to come together. But at the end of the day, do something that you're very passionate about. Like Sekharji said, I think when you have that passion to move mountains, I think everything else just falls in place and becomes such a smooth ride. We only love, we give our 100% to things that we love to do. And if not, then it's just going to be so draining, and not to only us, to our families too. So we'll open it to the floor, and we have about 10 minutes. So maybe we'll take 2 or 3 questions. So if you just say your name, briefly introduce yourself, and just direct it to one of the panelists, I think that would be awesome.
Squeeze your hands, one after two. I think everything is clear.
Yeah, I think everything is crystal clear.
Great job.
Oh, okay. So we have...
Hi, I'm Pratik. My question is directed to the doctor. So,
Which one?
that one. I'm sorry I'm bad with names. That's very rude of me. But when you say you have this habit, this OCD habit of planning everything. With the given uncertainty that is in our life, so if I'm trying to get if my work relies on someone else's feedback, there's the level of uncertainty in it. How do we still organize or plan the day?
I mean, like if you have to go to the minister,
Yeah, that's one of it.
what we do is we don't invite him. We've had meetings and meetings that have been delayed because the minister didn't turn up. I think it's to know the other person. Like if I was going to meet my sis, I would tell her 2. I would clear my schedule only at 3. You know, like know who you're dealing with. But also the thing that if you put out to be what you are and who you are, I think it'll come around. Maybe because like Amino said, like a lot of things are just taken for granted because Nepali time, they think you'll make it an excuse and they'll, you know, you have the burn, then you have the earthquake, and you have every other crisis where they can make an excuse. But if you stand out to be the person who does not accept that excuse, believe me, they will come on time next time.
Right.
Great, so we'll take a few more. Okay.
So I got a part of my answer already. When she said that she's always carrying a book, so I want to, anybody of you can answer the question that how do you find time for simple pleasures in life like reading a book or watching Game of Thrones, because we only talked about family and work, but we didn't talk about these things, so anybody can answer.
Maybe I'll take that one for you.
I'm carrying a Kindle.
Right. So I always carry a book, you know, because it's so, yeah. See, she's watching shit. So.
Games on my mobile.
Right. So if you have the will, I think you'll find a way to achieve that, right? So always carrying a book. When we travel, I always have all these Game of Thrones. I'm crazy about that too. So I always download it on my computer. So long flights, a great way to watch them. And I don't know what else you guys do.
Plan your vacations on time.
Yeah.
My oldest
I'm a little different from what others does probably. One very common is I write, love to write something when I'm free. Second most important thing which I do when I'm free is look at past. I mean, where I could have performed a little better. What wrong did I did? Where I needed to improve. Next time I'm not going to do in the same way. I'm going to do in a little different way. That little thought process which take a couple of hours. That is the way I do.
Just an example. Sometimes just doing nothing for us is great. So sometimes we just sleep. And that's all.
I like reading, but sometimes I'm sitting up late and reading. 12:30 and read. So if you want to do something, you do it. You do it. You want to read, you want to do something. You watch a film or watch a game or whatever, you make the time.
So I think the key is to be passionate about whatever you do in life. You know, if we have a long day at work and there's our significant other and we really have to take them out for dinner or do some celebrations, we always make that time out. We're not tired, you know. So I think it's also about finding that place or space. And yeah, carry your books. It has helped me a lot. So I think it's going to help you too. So we'll take one more question and I think end this wonderful session for today. If we have any. Yeah.
This part of panel discussion is much more important to workaholics like us in our, doing our undergrad, we're doing our work. We also have a passion, we have our hobbies. So in my case, I like singing, I like to do my job, I like to help my mom, dad. I have to make scholarship up to date to study hard, So you have passed all these years. So is there any regret that you have and that mattered you the most while balancing your work life and health balance? Thank you.
Looks like looking at them, I don't think that there are any regrets that they have. But are there any? Maybe we'll start with you.
Regret in the professional life?
Or any person that you missed out or...
I missed out was after my professional course, I had enrolled for a musical class, and I kind of was pretty procrastinated, and I said like I'll do it later, and never did it. So I regret not going to it. Today when I listen to music, I feel like I would have played it. I would have hummed it. So I think I regret that.
Yeah. So it's not about like, not having that time. I think it's about like not giving that time, right?
I wouldn't say I have any regrets. I think I chose this very consciously, and I think that's important that you, look, I miss out, I don't get to see my niece and my nephews that often, but we Skype, my mom is furious with me right now, it's been a month. Call your moms, all of you tonight. So, yeah, maybe I wish I would have more time with my family, but, my wife and I have had an incredible life. We've got to travel, see everything, do everything we've ever wanted. And when I talk to friends and family back home, they can't believe how we live, and I think we're very lucky. We encounter blessings every day. We're incredibly lucky to have the life we have, to have work that's fulfilling and interesting, and we chose this. This didn't happen to us, and we take responsibility for our choices.
I come from a joint family. We are 12 brothers, sisters. Amazingly, I missed engagement ceremony of all my 5 sisters. When I was here, they were in India, and in a hospital it is difficult. So this is something I feel sorry for. Although I enjoyed very much on the wedding, but I missed the engagement of all my 5 sisters.
Regrets, one too many. All I can say is I've learned this little lesson, and you build yourself around that. And that's it.
What Dr. Sabina said is right. You have regrets, but you live with it, but you
Learn through it.
learn, and also you get better because you faced it and you're doing better. You're working. So I think we all learn by different mistakes. As someone said, we all make mistakes. There are mistakes in life, we make it. But we go on and we make it. You have to make it. You say, I made a mistake, but now I'll better it and work ahead.
That's your 5th sister.
No, that's right. But if I may, I will just say one little thing when I see young people, I just say this. Listen, please don't say that. That's like everybody says, you're that is all we say. Let's not say that. Let's go ahead and do it ourselves.
First, a very small tip that I am concluding. I don't do exercise regularly. As you grow, the most of your time you spend in your meeting room, conference room, or at your office. The best way, simple walking is also another good form of exercise. Dina will agree to it. Stop calling people at your office. Start going to there. You'll walk. They keep their office clean. They'll be available at the office because they never know when you'll be reaching them. Start doing this. It will be about 3,000-4,000 steps every day, which is a good number. So I walk about 10,000 steps, and 3,000 to 4,000 is involved in going to my colleague's office at different places at different times.
Right. I think we've taught you whatever we could, or shared with you whatever we could about work-life health balance. But I think the key point here is be passionate about what you do, love what you do, and I think it will all fall in place. And it's always about finding those spaces in between where you can plug in all these leisure and things that spare time, right? And when we have that balance, when we plan accordingly, when we do what we love, when we respect, are sincere, have open communication with our colleagues, I think it all comes together. So thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you to our panelists. Like Raviji said, 3 words never forget. Learn how to say no, learn how to be thankful, and also apologize when given a chance. Right? So I think let's thank all our panelists today here for being with us. And thank you guys. It was wonderful. Oh, thank you. And I'm so proud of ourselves. We have finished exactly in an hour.
Thank you so much, panelists and our moderator. Now we'll move on to our token of love giving ceremony.
And we also should never forget to clap. I think this is bring that good energy.
Token of love to Ms. Amrita Shrestha, President at Dwarika's Hotel and Resort. Ms. Tina Shrestha, Interpreting Overseas. Mr. Ravi Chaudhary, Executive Director at Bayuda Hospitals Private Limited. Mr. Tristan Perry, Public Affairs Officer at Office of the U.S. Ambassador to Nepal. Mr. Sekhar Chetri, Director at V-chitra. Now moderator Amuda Mishra, Executive Director of the Ujjwala Foundation.